Welcome back to this month's Roundtable, your all-in-one comprehensive view of what's happening across the real estate industry, straight from the industry's earliest technology adopters and foremost experts in technology, marketing, brokerage, government policy, capital construction, and cybersecurity. As always, this is a three-part show. Part one, introduction and what's new for each of our Roundtable hosts in their business sector. Part two, we unpack, dive deep on the past month's biggest news and paradigm shifts. And part three, what does this mean for your real estate business and what you can do to outpace your competition in the next 30 days. I'm Andreas, Senie, founder, CRECollaborative, brokerage owner, managing director for KW Commercial, and overall growth catalyst. Joining me this month is none other than Saul Klein out of San Diego, real estate evangelist, the who's who of MLS. Saul, nice to have you back with us. How are things?
Hey, it's always great to be back and to see you, Andreas, and to be able to interact with all of our friends on this panel that you put together for us every month.
And not just our friends, family, and audience, and that's mixed in. 5,043 tune-ins and downloads last month. We have crossed the 5,000 mark. So major benchmark for us. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to our hosts. Thank you, Saul. And speaking of Saul and hosts and others, Dan Wagner also joining us out of Inland, Senior VP Government Relations, fresh from the White House, assuming. Dan, nice to see you as always.
Andreas, besides all that incredible breaking the threshold of over 5,000, how many shows will it be in December?
We will hit our 100th episode in December.
Woo, woo, woo!
Yes, that is, and who knew? And it became a thing, and it became a huge thing, and it is just remarkable. So thank you guys for all you do, joining and being part of, and thank you to our audience for their rating and reviewing of us. It really does help. Well, speaking of rating, reviewing, and audiences, who better to speak to that than Becca Carlson, CEO, Carlson Integrated. Welcome back, Becca. Nice to see you.
Great to see you guys.
And without someone to build the platform and the product and the buildings, also joining us none other than Chris Abel. Chris, welcome back. We've got a full deck this month. Darren Hayes couldn't be with us. He's out saving the world, but hopefully will be with us next month. So we'll forgive him. As is usual in the Brady Bunch style, Saul, you're to my right. What's the latest and greatest out of San Diego and the MLS Realtor world?
Yeah, well, let's see. Last week I went to a couple things happened last week. I went to Inman Connect, which is a program put on a couple times a year. It used to be put on once a year. Matter of fact, the first one was in 1996. It was done in the forest up by the Russian River, and only 50 people were in attendance. And Brad Inman has grown the thing into just a massive event. It was held it used to be after the first one, it was in San Francisco forever at the San Francisco Hilton. And then they opened one up in 2008 in New York. And then they started rotating them around. And so this one was actually in San Diego. And it was a great attendance. And it's always, a big piece of this is just seeing all the people you know. And so it's called Connect for a reason. And so for me, it was just, I know where to sit when I go to these events. I find the chair closest to the escalator. And then as people come up, they all have to walk by where I'm sitting, and I get to see all my friends and talk to all my friends. And so for those people that have never been to an Inman Connect, it's quite a deal, and I highly recommend it. So I had that last week. And then also our MLS, we conducted our strategic planning session at the same hotel. 2 days of strategic planning where you go through your vision, which is a future state of your organization, your mission, which is your purpose. You then create strategic objectives. From the strategic objectives, by the way, you might have 20 strategic objectives, but you don't have the money to fund them. So you might end up funding 5. So you have to prioritize your strategic objectives. And from the strategic objectives, you can dissect and come up with projects, and the projects will have goals, and the goals can be taken down to the task level. And then you can assign accountability and reporting. And it's just a process that most associations of realtors and MLSs and most organizations go through the strategic planning process, but it then sets you up for your budgeting. So we're already getting ready at this point to set up our budget for 2026. It's amazing how time flies. So it was an action-packed week.
Well, it sounds a lot like government. Before I go to government, and I'm going to ask Dan, Becca, you're actually tuning in from the green room at Neighborhood Owners Alliance Advocacy Group. Speaking of events, what is that?
NBOA is the Neighborhood Building Owners Alliance, and it's an advocacy group here in Chicago that actually has, I think, 14 partner organizations that are all the building owners associations within those communities. And it's a really strong and beautiful group of people because these are the guys who own 2 flats, 3 flats, 5 flats. They own buildings within their communities, and they look at it as there's a lot of conversation around things like placemaking, about making the community better, about funding objectives that are within the community. And I don't know if other cities have that. Chicago's got just a really, really special group. And so they have their annual summer soiree tonight. They let me come in early to use the green room and hang out here. And then I get to go see 1,000 people.
Because network is your networking. So Saul's got it figured out. You're in the green room now, but you'll be out in public. Saul's by the escalator. I laughed because the minute you said stay by the escalator, I thought of ICSD Vegas. And you hang out by the Starbucks entrance. Everybody waits in line, and that's how you catch everybody there before running your miles and miles and miles. So, Dan, fresh back from any conferences on your end or coming to and from?
I wanted to go back to Saul for a second. So Saul, one of my heroes in this business is Brad Inman too. And do you know where Brad Inman is born and raised?
Probably it's somewhere in the Midwest.
Carlinville, Illinois. His parents had a shop right on the town square. It was a clothing shop, and that's where he grew up, in this town that's very, very, very small. It's about 20 miles south of Springfield. And talk about the American dream. I just got to tell you, I think the world of Brad Inman, and I'm sure he's listening to us right now because he knows that Saul Klein is on this show. So of course he will be on it. But you asked the wild world of politics and real estate, all always mesh together in so many different ways. We have a lot of things going on in the country that in Illinois, we're kind of the epicenter where our Governor Pritzker is having an interesting conversation with the governor of Texas at this time. And they're talking about redistricting and what's happening and all the politics of the world does play a part in everything related to our commercial real estate industry. And that's why it's so wonderful that we have our kind of the big brother of NAR to be with us, Shannon McGann, the staff at NAR, Evan Lydiard, that can help us deal with all the different transactions and things happening in the political realm. But the big, beautiful bill did pass, and I can get into that a little bit later. But the big, beautiful bill is very important to commercial real estate.
Yeah, and it is just that, the big, beautiful bill. So, and since you touched on a little bit, I'll give just a broad overview on the commercial real estate market, right? Retail continues to show positive absorption. It is the asset to talk about. Mixed use is what I love. And if you can put retail on the first floor, apartments above, it's a win for everyone. Multifamily, robust growth. Again, the demand is there. Industrial, vacancies have started to increase nationwide, slow down in rent growth, while hospitality is now surpassed pre-pandemic levels as far as rates. And if you haven't noticed, all the land's getting gobbled up for future development, and whether it's land banking or developing now. Speaking of land banking and developing now, Chris, back from going to, what's the latest and greatest in your sector?
Earlier today, actually, we started planning the ABC One conference, which is going to take place in Indianapolis, actually in May, but we're getting a really early start. So I had the honor of being on and moderating a panel discussion kind of behind the scenes with a bunch of the marketing personnel from ABC across the country and the president of the New York chapter, just to kind of make sure that we're heading in the right direction as far as getting our people on the chapter staff side and leadership better acclimated to what they can be doing more of, or what they can be doing better and using different tools. There was talk of AI, there was talk of a lot of different avenues. So it's all about people on my end right now. I think I mentioned last month that usually heading into May, early June at the very latest, that's when construction usually picks up in my world for the summer. And this year it was like almost after 4th of July where everything started booming. So I'm not really, it's all about people. It's all about, a lot of my members are looking for specific people. A lot of the recruiters are looking to place specific people. It's pretty interesting. I feel a little bit like we were back in maybe like January and February, not so much in the building space, but in the people space in regards to every time I turn around, there's someone with a new job or they move from one company to the next. And it's just, I don't know, it seems like a little money might be coming into some of these companies because they're building a ton right now that they want to go out and spend, some money on the right person. So I'm getting contacted by headhunters. Members are asking me different questions. Other chapters are asking if there's anyone around, even if it's temp labor. It's interesting. There's a lot of things going on. Hard to get on a job site to talk to people or in an office to talk to people, but definitely picking up the phone and quick text messages. There's a lot of communication going on in my space. That's for sure.
The only thing I'll say there is text messaging is the terrible breakdown in communication by humankind. But I love the getting on the phone part of that.
I hear you. Trust me. I hear you.
So conferences, full swing. Everyone's out attending and in motion. Saul, you had shared some slides with me early on. We talked about AI, about the MLS adopting some AI. I'm going to give a plug out to M1 AI Receptionist. We've now used it for 2 weeks straight, and it's incredible. You call me, and it answers, and it has my company mission, and we preloaded it with everything to do with us. And someone called in and asked about marketing a property for sale, and it gave them my sales pitch on why we were different. And I can read the transcript and so on, and it was pretty incredible. So AI is absolutely becoming more and more prevalent. But at the same time, I love the fact that it's forcing more face-to-face interaction, because you really don't know who's on the other end of a phone or an email. Being in person, that contact sport that is commercial real estate will never be replaced. So
Andreas, at our strategic planning session, up at the very top of the strategic objectives was integrating AI into the multiple listing service. And at the Inman conference, probably the number one topic in all of the presentations was about AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone's talking about it. Everybody's wondering what to do with it.
But it reminded me of this cartoon that I saw when the World Wide Web was new. It had a dog sitting at a computer keyboard and a cat down below, and the dog says to the cat, on the internet, people don't know you're a dog or not a dog.
That's right.
To your point about you don't know who you're talking to.
Well, it's not just it's even the resume writing, right? You just don't know until you meet someone. There's no way to know that authentic self, which I love because I hate texting and emailing, and that's how the industry is run, right? But get out, meet, greet, and do business.
Well, and a great way, Andreas, to meet people is the C5 conference that NAR is putting on here in Chicago. I know that I'm going to put a plug in for our CEO, the Inland Real Estate Group CEO, Tony Chorizo. He's going to be speaking. The conference is September 16th through the 18th, but he's going to be speaking on the 17th. And he's going to have the Mike Ponicelli. He's the Senior Vice President of Corporate Development from BizNow, is going to be doing a fireside chat with them. And that C5 is a great opportunity to be with real people like commercial real estate folks love to do. And I got to give hats off to the wonderful world of NAR for putting this on again. It's a wonderful thing. Johnny Noon from NAR, it's a big part of his project, and I know that they would love for everybody that's listening to us to join it and come to Chicago. It's going to be a good conference.
I love Chicago.
I'll be there.
Will be there, I'm sure. Chicago native. So C5, September 16th to the 18th, and Tony, your CEO, will be there speaking, and you'll be there as well, assuming.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be a terrific show, terrific event. Lots of people talking about the latest and greatest topics, and Tony is going to be talking about, because inland is alternative investments and how that's important for commercial real estate. So be there or be square. How's that?
Well, and while we're talking about Chicago, I believe you're headed somewhere tonight relatively important into our Chicagoland audience.
Sure.
Service announcement.
So one of the hats I wear, I'm the chairperson of the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, and I've been asked to go to the Illinois Commerce Commission because we have in the Chicagoland area, there's a gas company called Northern Illinois Gas, which I'm going to be speaking at this event to ask the Commerce Commission to actually increase the cost of gas, because we want to, as a business community, we want to have a safe and secure pipeline getting into our businesses and homes. And interestingly enough, the General Assembly of the state of Illinois has passed a law that is to shut down natural gas in Illinois in 2040, 2045. And so the Commerce Commission is interested in not increasing rates to keep the system running smoothly, because they're saying, hey, you guys, we're going to be shutting the system down in 15, 20 years. So why are we going to be putting money into it? Now the chamber, we hope to get the legislature to change that bill that passed a few years ago, because I don't think they realized or they recognized how the energy issue for data centers, for Governor Pritzker here in Illinois has really done a great job to promote quantum computing, and the amount of energy you need to do quantum computing, where they have to have cryogenics. So the amount of energy to bring computer systems down to almost absolute zero is unbelievably high. And we have also, besides cutting natural gas in 2040, 2045, we also are decommissioning all of our coal fire power, our power plants. And we have some of our nuclear power plants that are offline. So now they're now looking at this as a big issue. And when you're in Illinois with polar vortexes, natural gas is a great way to heat your home. And so folks, when they start realizing in about 15 years or so, you're going to need all new furnaces, dryers, gas stoves. I mean, all that's going to be gone. I think it's going to start waking people up. So although Oak Park, I believe, has already passed a rule that you can't, under all new construction, you cannot have gas stoves. So I don't think Chicago is the only one doing this kind of thing. I think, or Illinois, I think there's other places. Saul, do you have that issue out in California?
Well, we got a lot of windmills here, and so it's amazing to me, Dan, when we talk about eliminating sources of energy, that we don't have viable alternatives. At least we don't have cost-effective, viable alternatives, and yet we talk about eliminating. I remember when the buses in San Diego went to natural gas, and they proudly proclaimed how clean natural gas was.
Exactly.
Right? And now they're talking about getting rid of natural gas. But what's going to replace it? Windmills?
Windmills and solar, which you and I know they can't. They need the battery storage, and the battery storage. I know when the polar vortex happened in Chicago, and Becky, you probably remember, the Teslas, it was a parking lot on the streets because the Teslas would die because their batteries couldn't hold the charge because it was negative 40 degrees below zero. So it is a interesting. So we're trying to bring some logic back into the discussion. So I'll be leaving a little bit early tonight to head about an hour and a half away to go to this hearing and give my remarks. But
Dan, good luck, because again, it's like it's insanity. It's total insanity. These people are so stupid when they talk about this. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, nuclear power is clean and it makes a lot of sense, but they got rid of those years ago.
Yeah.
And we've got an idle nuclear power plant here in San Diego. When you think about all of the submarines that we have, just about all of them in the United States Navy, and all of the aircraft carriers, they're all nuclear power plants, and they sit right in the harbor. And yet you still have people that they just don't think. It's like, I don't know where these people come from, who teaches them, but they're idiots. Drive me nuts.
Well, it is an interesting experience. So I'm honored to be able to speak on behalf of the Illinois Chamber at this event, and it'll be hopefully it'll be eye-opening. And Chicago itself, we have some huge budget deficits in Chicago, and the mayor right now is talking about adding a corporate head tax, possibly doing a 5% income tax for anybody that makes over $200,000. Lots of different taxes that Chicago is looking at.
That's going to bring a lot of business to Illinois.
Yeah, and then the other thing is there's the public transportation system is facing a cliff of $750 million, and they're looking at $1.50 delivery tax. So every time you have Uber Eats or you have anything, Amazon, anything delivered to your house, it'd be another $1.50 for delivery, and that could go to bail out Chicago public transportation. So if you're down in Springfield or St. Louis area, that they were looking at having everybody in the state pay that, but they got an uproar from people downstate to bail out Chicago. So we are not in a boring state. We have lots of fun things to talk about.
And that's why you should invest in Connecticut. We are completely boring, but our returns are consistent. And we're not as sunny as California. But there's my shameless plug. For those that just looping back quickly, those that don't make it to C5 should at least make it to CMLS and the MLS International Forum, September 15th and 19th, coinciding dates. Thank you, Dan, for all you do, public, private, behind the scenes, both with 1031 Exchange and locally there in Chicago, right? There's just so much in all that you do to get back.
Well, and Andreas, just real quickly, because of time, I just want to highlight, we talked before last time about the big, beautiful bill. Just again, real quickly for our listeners, the big thing, the permanent extension of opportunity zones is a wonderful thing that happened. Everybody's excited about that. And they're going to be doing a new incentive for rural commercial development, allowing a 30% stepped up in basis for investments held for 5+ years. That's a big deal. The question that some people have is, well, what kind of investments will happen in rural areas that would be able to provide for people? But the idea of housing is obviously clearly one where you'd be able to possibly be able to put up housing and then have people commute into the cities. That could be something to do. We have the full restoration of bonus depreciation restored through 2030. The 1031, obviously, that's near and dear to my heart. Everything remains fully intact for the 1031. It's been our tax code for 100 years. We're keeping it. It's still going strong. Expanded interest deductibility for Section 163. We have the the 199 pass-through depreciation. Everything is clicking along, and we're very happy for our commercial industry because of this big, beautiful bill. So things have clicked along well for us, and I just wanted to highlight, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I can go more in depth to talk to them about it. You can, Andreas can let you know how to get a hold of me, but I want to at least hit the high levels of what's going on in commercial real estate with the big, beautiful bill.
So, Dan, it was a big win, right? For
big
NAR
win.
really lobbied for a lot of this. And when you look at that bill and you look at how well the real estate industry did, you have to give credit where credit is due. And I think the folks that participate at NAR just did an outstanding job because of all of the things they saved
for
the industry.
Shannon McGann and her team, incredible. Evan Lydiard and Brian Green. That advocacy group is just a policy group. They know their stuff, and it really is our investment for all of us to remember. RPAC is a big deal. I normally wear my RPAC pen for this meeting, but today I got my Chamber of Commerce pen. But the RPAC is a great investment for everybody, and that's where the power of R is so powerful in Washington. And I just can't thank enough the federal political coordinators who are the volunteers that are connected to every member of Congress that is able to talk to people who are the congressional leaders to understand exactly what a 1031 is and how it works. And so we get people that have boots on the street, know what's going on. And when you have that kind of power, this is one of the realities of what happens. So we're very, very happy about it.
It should have been the big, beautiful bill for commercial real estate, and people would stop asking me questions. But it is great for us nationwide. So that being said, as we move forward, a lot of talk on regulation and different things. The big, beautiful bill is only one of the regulatory changes that are helping advance commercial interests across the country. We have AI trying to get caught up regulation-wise, and the MLS integrating AI and regulations there too. I guess for the MLS, it's policy, not regulation. So, what other takeaways do you have? And I'm going to shift over to Chris in a minute because I'm curious how the construction industry is feeling from the Big Beautiful Bill and everything there too. Any other takeaways from the Big Beautiful Bill on your end, Saul? I know you've read it, all 396 pages.
Mm-hmm. I think Dan covered it all.
He did. He's good. He was the guy there, I'm getting him a pillow. Big Beautiful Bill by Dan.
Well, and obviously the other thing I did mention is the SALT deduction. They've increased that to $40,000, so that's a huge deal in a lot of the blue states. So I know in Illinois it's a big deal, in California. So a lot of the blue states are very happy about that change too.
Yeah, state and local taxes.
Oh yeah, state and local. Yeah, thank you for people don't necessarily know what that is. Correct. We have international people too, don't we, Andreas?
We do. Actually, 13% of our audience is out of Europe, 8% out of Asia, and I'm cheating. I have a side screen here. This is not in my head. 1% in Africa and 1% in Oceania, which is really Australia. So thank you to our overseas audience. There's a bid for everyone here, given that there's a major influx of investment from overseas corporations, right, coming into the U.S. It's all part of the Big Beautiful Bill and everything there too. Becca, I know you work with a lot of different investment groups. What are you seeing on the investment side, speaking of investments in real estate, as far as the Big Beautiful Bill?
We're seeing a lot of activity. The money that was on the sidelines is diving in. Yeah. I think that there's just a little bit more confidence in the market, which is all that it needed. So my clients that are investors are interviewing tenants and owners right now. Their retail is nationwide over 96% occupancy, according to ICSC statistics yesterday. Retail is unbelievably strong, which hopefully will actually lead to a little bit more development and new concepts. Our ICSC at Midwest conference is in October. And that used to be ICSC Chicago, but we're taking on the whole region. And it's going to be amazing. The retailer runway will have 15 to 18 new retailers who are coming into Chicago and the Midwest. So maybe they're coming in, St. Louis, Twin Cities, Indianapolis, throughout the Midwest. But these are retailers that are expanding. I had a dinner last night with a guy whose concept had one location 18 months ago and has 1,000 now.
They're growing. The opportunities are there. Pockets of opportunities are there.
Totally. Yeah. We are hungry for new concepts as a country.
Well, currently 25.5% of our business pipeline is retail. And as I said before, I love retail. If I could do nothing but retail, it would be great. So it's a happy place for me as a broker. And I know in the construction world, it's easier to tilt them up. It's these freestanding sites all day long. Speaking of winners and retail and different markets, the emerging market contenders by the numbers, your Tucson, Savannah, logistical hubs, right? The metros that are outperforming and outpacing. While Connecticut isn't outpacing the rest yet, South and Southwest is outpacing Northeast and Midwest on the fundamental growth. But, on global, we're getting there, slow and steady. Chris, what are you seeing from the unions, from your GCs? I mean, are they pushing forward? Big Beautiful Bill is helping, hurting?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it's most of the contractors and most of in the construction scene, they're happy about it and looking forward to it. There's a lot of reason for people to get out there and start purchasing new equipment for the first time in a very long time. There's depreciation advantages that weren't there before. So we got a lot of people out there starting to buy equipment, which actually obviously makes some of the distributors and the dealers of that equipment a lot happier to kind of cast. It's just a wider net cast, and it's not just it's going to definitely have its challenges in regards to, keeping people and retaining people and all that sort of stuff. The labor issue isn't necessarily going to just get fixed. You've heard me talk about this for months, if not well over a year or so, in regards to, it's not just going to create people to go ahead and just do the work, but overall, the construction industry was really looking for a win, and they were in need of one. And I think this is something that, regardless of where you land, the construction industry can take advantage of some of the stuff going on in the bill.
Are tariffs a big deal, Chris?
Yeah, tariffs are definitely a big deal. It's that uncertainty that we all felt with basically tariffs that really was playing a huge part at the very beginning, because it was just a widespread situation. Hey, the tariffs are going to take over this, and it's going to be this amount here, and the steel is going to go up here. Now, it's still a big deal, don't get me wrong, but it's even more important that these contractors and these owners and everyone involved is really studying their contracts and really going through those contracts and making sure that there are caveats or verbiage in there that explains what's going to be locked in and what's not going to be locked in. But I have, just a local situation here I saw in the news actually this morning was, this woman in her business has increased over 6 or 7 years, and she's having a real hard time because of tariffs in getting her building situated and getting her enough funds together to get her new location situated. And she directly went into the tariffs on steel and the increased cost that are, causing that issue. So she's actually turned to the community that, she has supported and has supported her over the years to try to get some help there. But, it's if you talk to contractors enough, everything under the sun is going to be some sort of big deal depending on who you talk to.
Well, you torture the numbers long enough, they'll tell you anything. But
yeah.
At an overview, the tariffs are driving up costs, right? Development expenses or delays in decisions. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Installing. But it is not that it's the new normal, but I dare say that we now know how to react, and it's all negotiation. And these tariffs are just there. Right?
Well, I was at my 40th year high school reunion a week ago, and I'm that old. Yes, I'm 58. And the one of my classmates, they have a factory in Belleville, Illinois, and they love the tariffs because they're a steel company, and they are actually now able to hire people to do work in the United States in their factory, and they're able to give jobs that they couldn't do before. So they will sing the song of how the tariffs have been helpful for them.
Yeah,
interesting.
Connecticut, we're an industrial state, right? We want to manufacture things, and the tariffs are helping bring more manufacturing back. So agree. Short-term, mid-term, and long-term effects of tariffs. It's tough. There's many sides to that coin.
There are,
but we're making it through.
There are one.
Go ahead.
One of the companies I'm dealing with, they're producing, European style windows and doors here. They were doing it overseas for a long time and have them shipped over, and finally kind of bit the bullet and said, we're going to start, producing them right here. And I'll tell you what, the reaction that they're getting, I was with them yesterday, they're doing tours of their plant, the reaction that they're getting, the companies that want to put their product in their showrooms. Before you know it, he's going to end up being a supplier, but before you know it, he's going to be strictly a manufacturer within the next year or two if they play their cards right, because they're just going to have to basically get their products put into showrooms, and they're basically just going to be manufacturing them and not going to have to go directly to contractors or owners. So again, there's positive and negative to everything, but it was a great story to hear yesterday.
No, it's tough. I mean, the only impervious industry is the car wash. People,
I was just going to say, you know what? The tariffs don't do anything when it comes to the car wash. We had the best month we've ever had, and we've owned it since 1979. We had the best month we ever had in July. It was amazing.
I've had clients come to me now, and they're like, I want a car wash. They see you on the show, and they want to buy a car wash.
Too many regulations. They can't build them.
Oh boy. No, it's there. As always, there's a pathway to profitability. There's opportunity. You just have to know where to look.
Well, I'll tell you, Andreas, inland, I mean, we're looking at self-storage is a big thing for us. Alternative investments, the student housing, another great thing, and the senior living. So those are some of our three kind of flavors that we really enjoy right now, are those three.
Those are resilient. So those are the lead. Those are very resilient. I tell my clients, dogs, continued care, and daycare. Any of those three assets are good. People will spend all day for their dog. They'll spend all day for their loved ones, continued care, and they'll spend anything to get their kids out of there. Dogs, continued care, and daycare. Those are and car washes. I'll add car wash for Saul.
and I don't care if they don't build any more car washes. I kind of like
that's good.
Yeah, I guess you do. So,
you know what's going on here in San Diego, and I'm sure all over, the density of residential units is amazing. You look at the cost of building something, and just the huge cost is the land. And so you're not going to be able to create affordability unless you can reduce the per unit land cost. And the way to do that is to increase the density. And the city planners, they kind of know that. And they want to encourage walkability, and they want to discourage driving. Now, Southern California, driving is like a religion. And so to get people to want to walk, but then generationally there are people that do want to walk, and they want to be in the center of everything. So I look around the areas where I live and work, and the units going up, and it's not like the old days when you could build 2 or 3 stories. They're building 7, 8 stories. And you're right, Andreas, in many cases it's mixed use, right? And so that's the old European model. I mean, that's an old idea, this mixed use thing, right? But now you see a lot more mixed use, and I'm talking 7, 8 story buildings in San Diego were rarely, because the land was cheap, rarely at one time did you build up like this. And so to look at some of these buildings and to think in your mind the density, the number of units that can go on a piece of land, let's say the size of the car wash property, is amazing.
Highest and best use, and is the building a detriment to the value of the land? And I'll throw some statistics out. So NAHB, decline in high density single family construction, 40% in early 2018, 36% by 2024, highlighting this shift from single family homes to high density. How do I go vertical? How do I and if I am going vertical, how do I get my retail, my amenities, and everything built in? It's all there for us. We just have to know where to look. And Inland's been looking in that direction for a long time.
Well, in near where Inland is, in Lyle, Illinois, not far from us, there was Lucid Technologies had this big corporate office, and they just it was in the news today. Well, they tore the building down because the office is going through a major transformation, and what's going to go there is a major data center. And so this big, beautiful office building that it was gorgeous, all torn down, and now a big data center is going to go up. So see the transformation of office into the reality of what you wouldn't necessarily expect 20 years ago. Now office is becoming, you got to be creative and think of what are you going to do to change those values, and the market is what happens. And now these data centers are a really big deal. There's another data center that's on the outskirts of the suburbs, and I believe that the price per acre is in the six figures, which people can't even imagine. So lots of interesting changes and dynamics happening in our real estate world.
We've got a comment from Stephen Bielek tuning in, and I hesitate to even ask it, but I'll relay it. So, Stephen, thank you for tuning in as always. Real estate blockchain, as crypto is getting attention, what are the regulations or thoughts on crypto, given all the attention? Specifically, is it in the big, beautiful bill? And I would parry that by going, well, Trump has doubled down on crypto as an alternative investment, and 401ks are shifting to allow you to invest in these things. I don't know the answer to that, and that might be better for Darren when he's back. Anyone have any input on crypto and the big, beautiful bill, just so we can answer our audience directly? Sorry to interrupt you.
You know, I don't know how it relates to the big, beautiful bill, but it absolutely makes sense. And I know a couple title companies that are allowing you to settle using Bitcoin, right? So it's inevitable. You're going to see it as a means of settlement. Blockchain, I think, is going to be a critical part of the real estate industry. If nothing else, just think about title insurance. Now, title insurance is more than a search of the title. It's also insurance against a future claim. So you say, well, they searched the record just 2 years ago and they searched the record. That's right. And so title insurance is not only a search of the record to allow for the conveyance of property, searching old records, but it's also, well, what if they made a mistake? And if they made a mistake and then the person you bought the property from, they didn't own it, and they didn't own it, the people before then, that means you don't own it. So you buy title insurance to be protected. But what can happen with blockchain, which is an immutable public record, is that it can decrease the risk for the title companies. And so if you had all of the public records in blockchain, then you could decrease the risk for the title insurance, and you could start bringing down the insurance cost of title insurance. And there are big moves in real estate around reducing costs, right? And so I think that there's opportunity for blockchain, for cryptocurrency in the future of real estate. It's inevitable.
Well, I just was on a meeting yesterday with NAR and for Create magazine, and one of the folks that's on this advisory committee with me was talking exactly about this, and that NAR is looking at doing a story about this. So I don't know all the details of what the question was, but clearly that is, I think Saul is right. I think that we're looking at another additional thing for our future.
So blockchain, it's certainly something we need to pay attention to. I am curious, and I don't know if you can answer this, Dan. Does Inland have? I know some owners, developers have backed by blockchain, right? They have their assets tokenized. Is that something on Inland's radar?
You know,
sorry, it's
no. I don't think at this moment I'm able to answer. Yeah.
But go to C5 and hear your CEO, and maybe
there you go. Yes, yeah. Those are trade secrets right now. But you know, you're always on the cutting edge of this stuff. I mean, we've been in business for over 56 years. We have people that are always trying to learn the cutting edge. So I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. So back to adaptive reuse and what to do with these big buildings. Where it's financially feasible, we're seeing them change, and there's nothing worse than a blight in a community, an empty building, an office building. No matter how pretty it is, if it's not generating lights on for the economy, it has to become something else. There is, I believe it's JFK. They turned the terminal into a hotel, right? So there's so many ways we can do that. Collectively, constructively, as we work together through the regulations and take advantage of all of the opportunities, or rather the incentives, I should say, that are presented to us. And I cannot believe it's already 6:45. We were flying through this hour. I think, Dan, you had to run.
I've got to go drive to go give my testimony. So God bless everybody and have a wonderful rest of the summer. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dan.
Take it easy.
He forgot to tell us what row to vote on, for the audience when they show up for his. All right, I lost my train of thought, but I'm going to pitch it over to you, Saul. It's 6:45. We're at part 3 of the show. what should the industry or the professionals be doing over the next 30 days to outpace their competition? Where's your crystal ball telling? And don't say come to my car wash.
Yeah, so that's a tough question. And so I listened to a song this morning that I hadn't listened to in many years, and it's called Desert Pete by the Kingston Trio. And if you're not familiar with it, you ought to listen to it. But it's about priming the pump. You've got to prime the pump. And, it's a story about this pump that doesn't look like it's got any water in it. It's in the middle of the desert. And there's a note that says, under the rock over there is a bottle of water, but don't drink it. Use the water to pour on the gasket to prime the pump. And then if you have faith and you pump it, there'll be more water than you know what to do with. So I would say that right now, things are uncertain, lots of things going on, but prime the pump. And it's not about instant gratification. Real estate really never is about instant gratification. Prime the pump. And this is the summer. These are the summer months. And I think you're going to see that real estate, as always, will turn around. And we're going to see great opportunities in all aspects of real estate moving into the future.
100%. Look, it's cyclical and it will always go up over time if you can hold it long enough, right? What does the mortgage broker say? Date the rate, marry the property, right? You can finance it, prime it, and get ready and keep moving. So, Chris, on your end, tell us more. What can we do to outpace our competition and find the best GC? You owe me a referral.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that one tonight or tomorrow. But in speaking to kind of the associations, I know like right now, the amount of events that are kind of coming down the pipeline for the fall and heading into the winter, I think being prepared and scheduling your travel and figuring out where you're going to be is going to be just as important as last year, because I know I'm looking farther ahead, but the holidays are going to land the same type of schedule last year, where the new year is going to get started a little bit later than usual, just because of the way the holidays are landing. So I'm actually planning to not get caught off guard heading into the winter and heading into the new year already. So that's on one thing as far as just planning your travel and being out there. As far as the contractors go, and to get back a little bit on the AI side of things, studying those contracts when they're coming in, making sure that if you're putting out your proposals on the subcontractor side and putting out your bids, making sure you're using AI in the right way, using a fine-tooth comb, going through it, not just relying on what's out there and giving it one glance over, really digging into it and making sure that even though you can save yourself some time using AI to help out to put these things together, you can also end up losing a job if you're not paying attention to how you're using it and what you might not be catching. So at the end of the day,
are you referring to the fact that AI hallucinates, and if you don't know the material that you're speaking about, it could derail you?
All it takes is one little word, one little mistake that can, hey, I saved a whole bunch of time, but if you don't get the jobs, it really doesn't matter. You still have to, you still have to know it. You still have to know what's going on, and not to get too comfortable with using it for everything. But at the same time, you said it earlier, everyone's think about where the AI conversation is now compared to 6 months ago, a year ago, even 2 years ago on this show. It's pretty wild to see where everything's kind of going and what direction it's going in. And we said it a while ago, I think it was you, Andreas, about, just embracing it and, that it's not going anywhere. You might as well embrace it. Earlier you embrace it, the better off you're going to be.
Well,
here we are.
Yeah, the joke I say is, look, AI won't replace you, but somebody using AI,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
And look, I was fighting it for a while, and I've now got it. It answers my phones, it takes my notes, right? It's been pretty incredible.
Hey, we've been a positive advocate for AI since day one.
Sure.
You've
Sure
got
have.
some of the original URLs. You've been an advocate, an AI advocate, and an MLS advocate. If only you gave stock tips, then we'd be there.
There it is.
Now Dan behind us, just before I circle over to Becca, because we've got a few more minutes on the end of the show. What is the MLS doing in adopting AI? I'm just curious. Has it changed for more than answering questions?
No,
Or
pretty much it's still
that?
right, but it also does compliance.
Okay. So it is reviewing the notes. It is
So
checking.
it'll go out and look at all the images that a human being, we can't go out and look at all the images. We've got, 6,000 listings. We've got 11,000 members to look at the images and look for violations in the images. And then to automatically send a notification out to say, hey, change this image. And then to send another notification out to say, change the image or we're going to fine you. And not only the images, but also to go over the remarks section and look for fair housing violations. And so there's lots of things that humans can do it, but it take them a lot longer than it takes the AI, right? So the AI is changing the way we run an MLS. Hey, before you give it to Becca, I want to say to my wife, happy anniversary, our 44th wedding anniversary tomorrow. 44 years, somebody told me it's like a prison sentence. But no, 44 years together, and we got children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I couldn't believe that a 2-pound box of See's candy is $61. That's amazing, huh?
That's the same candy for every anniversary.
But to my wife, Janie, happy anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary from all of us to Janie and to you. That's incredible.
Thank you.
She puts up with you, and there's a car wash to deal with.
She puts up with me. That's the tough part of it, for sure.
All my best wishes to all those in Hawaii. Our good friend, your good friend, John Riley. Given everything that's going on, I hope John Riley's doing well. So much opportunity out there and so much disaster out there, but believing in the good, right? There is good out there. Becca, what's the greatest thing you could give to the audience for the next 30 days?
Well, I actually had a question, Andreas. Are you getting website traffic from chat engines?
Yes. The short answer to that question is yes. So 3 or 4 shows ago, Becca had the suggestion that we work to preload the AI models and go in and promote or ask the AI to refine our business information. So about EAC problems, as an example. Why? Because today's youth is not going to Google. They're asking ChatGPT, where do I find XYZ? So yes, we are getting traffic from AI. As I said, AI answers my phones. It takes my notes. And if I upgrade my washing machine, it'll do my laundry. I've seen that ad from one of them. So yes, thank you for that. Is that leading into your tip?
Well, we are talking about AI, so I think it's important to circle back on those conversations that we've had historically.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the complexities of AI and even tokenization and fractional ownership in Big Beautiful Bill and cryptocurrency, there's still those simple ways that we can interact with the AI that build our companies and build our businesses. So that's my encouragement, is find ways to leverage AI to build your business.
Or hire Carlson Integrated? No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I love helping people. Please, anytime.
So truly, that was, you said it, I don't know, 2 seasons ago. It's underserved or underpopulated markets for media. Like Google My Business was an underserved and underpopulated market that got you to the first page of Google. And in 3 episodes ago, we talked about this. I believe I had said, this is that next Google My Business. If you get in there now, that's the first page of Google. And yes, it's proven to do very well. I do want to remind our audience that you do not, under any circumstances, throw your client's financial data or any other private data into an AI engine to summarize, make more concise, or reformat. You are public sourcing that data the moment you do. Massive amounts of engineers got fired for doing this with trade secrets. But imagine how many board members are out there with ChatGPT and they get a big deck from their board meeting and they go summarize this for me. Because they do it, because it's happened. It's been in the news. Which I guess leads me to my tip. You kind of let me fall into it. Be cautious with how you use AI. I, to this day, stick to the fact that it is a day one intern. I check the transcripts on my A1 receptionist daily to see if it's screwing up. Like Jim Fried, it couldn't pronounce my name. Shout out to Jim Fried and his show. So I had to teach it how to pronounce my name. But it's getting better and smarter and growing up, as they say. So if you aren't using it, someone using it will replace you, bar none, is my 2 cents for the industry. And just a quick reminder, please do come see us at CRETech. Becca's coming. I will be there. Darren Hayes is joining. CRETech. And what's the date, Becca? Do you know it offhand? I got it. October 21st to 22nd. To the 22nd. It is the largest real estate meetings program, and it is the intersection of institutional capital, real estate technology and innovation, and commercial real estate operators. It is just big enough that everyone should go there, but still small enough that you can get real quality conversation in with those that you need. Hope to see everyone there. As always, my fellow co-hosts, it's an incredible time spent, an hour together. Thank you to my audience. Thank you to all of you. Any last bits, we'll have to say them still next month. We'll see you next month. Thank you, one and all. And with that, we will see you in a month.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable, powered by CRECo.ai, your source for the latest in real estate and technology. For past episodes, sector interviews, and more great content, follow us on all social media and YouTube at CRECollaborative. You can also find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please like, subscribe, and share. It really does help. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next Real Estate Roundtable.